Hello, and welcome back to GarageHammerTactics. It's Tom here today, and I'll be taking you through my thoughts and opinions of the new Dark Angels Legion rules found in Book 9 Crusade. So what does Legions Astartes Dark Angels give you? So the usual spiel, they have Legions Astartes. We all know what that does, and they always attempt to regroup at normal leadership value regardless of casualties. It gains you the mastery of the blade. So when fighting in an assault with one of the following weapons, i.e. combat blade, chainsword, heavy chainsword, power sword, tyrannic greatsword, calibanite warblade, charnable saber, calibanite charge blade, and paragon blades modelled as swords, and when fighting a model with an equal weapon skill, a model with this special rule hits on a free up. Very wordy, but essentially, as long as they're modelled with swords and you are fighting an opponent in combat with an equal weapon skill, you'll always hit on a free. I find that very useful. I think it will be very useful. Also gives you signs of the Hexagrammation. Eligible models with the Legion Astartes Dark Angel special rule may select additional options from both the Signs of the Hexagrammation or Signs of the Hecatonistica sections in page 158, and we will get to those shortly. Also gains Inviolate and Alone. Models of the Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule may never benefit from the leadership characteristics or any leadership-related bonus or special rule from any model which does not have the Legions Astartes Dark Angels or Sire of the Dark Angels special rules. Essentially, they like to be alone and won't ever benefit from HQ buffs that are not Legions Astartes Dark Angels. Moving on to Legion-specific war gear. Weapons of Old Night. And as everyone knows, the first Legion, i.e. the Dark Angels, had access to some pretty dark stuff, being the first of the Emperor's Legions. What does it give you? Any character model with the Legion Astartes Dark Angels special rule with access to a power sword as part of their war gear options may instead take a calibanite warblade for plus 10 points, or exchange a power sword that is part of their basic equipment for a calibanite warblade for free. So what is a calibanite warblade, I hear you ask? It is melee plus 1 strength AP 3. So just a buffed power sword essentially, and as opposed to a box standard power sword, given that plus 1 strength, even though it's AP 3, it could be beneficial. Also, any model with the Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule with access to a plasma gun or twin link plasma gun as part of their war gear may instead take a plasma repeater for plus 20 points or a plasma burner for plus 15 points. In the case of units with multiple plasma guns, all such weapons in the same unit must be upgraded to the same weapon if either option is chosen. So, what is a plasma repeater and what is a plasma burner? A plasma repeater is range 12 inches, strength 6, AP 2, gets hot, salvo 2-3, but it does give you twin linked. A plasma burner is 12 inches range, strength 4, AP 2, assault D3 plus 1 with a star against it, ignores cover and plasma flame. Ignores cover is very useful with AP 2 weapons. Plasma flame is a special rule when making Overwatch attacks. Any failed to hit rolls may be re-rolled. Again, pretty dirty. And the assault D3 plus 1 star is you essentially roll once for each time the weapon's fired, and that one roll applies to that gun throughout the whole unit. Out of the two there, for me, I prefer the plasma burner purely because salvo 2-3 on the plasma repeater is difficult for mobile units. If you take them on outrider squads that can take plasma guns, it's a little bit better because you'll be relentless and getting the full 3 shots, but anything that's mobile infantry, you want to be staying away from the plasma repeater, in my opinion. So continuing the weapons of Old Night, any Praetor, Centurion or Consul with the Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule with access to a power fist as part of their war gear options may instead take a tyrannic greatsword for plus 15 points. A tyrannic greatsword is melee, plus 2 strength, AP 3, two-handed, instant death. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, This is the trouble with the AP system in Horus Heresy. Anything that's not AP2 on a combat weapon is largely ignored. And this over a Power Fist, its benefit is useful against Mechanicum possibly, but against specialist Terminator units and other legions, not really too great. Okay, you might get lucky on high wound models and they'll fail their armor save, but who knows. Not a great option against a Power Fist in my opinion. You also have access to special issue ammunition. Now there's two types of this. There is stasis shells may be taken on models with Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule equipped with a grenade launcher, twin link grenade launchers or missile launchers as an additional ammunition type for 5 points per model. A stasis shell is rules as follows. Two options. Grenade launcher, firstly, is 12-inch range, strength 3, assault 1, blast 3 inches, and stasis anomaly, which is pretty dirty. Essentially, all you have to do is, you don't have to wound. The stasis anomaly just has to hit the unit, and the whole unit is reduced to initiative 1 until the end of the game turn. Stasis shell on a missile launcher is 24-inch ranged, blast 3 inches, heavy 1, and stasis anomaly again. There's no AP value against those stasis shells, but you're only using them to hit the unit and you are reducing them to initiative 1. There could be some dirty combinations in there to tag a unit with that and charge in with an assault unit. It's my intention. Now the last option for Weapons of Old Night would be the special issue ammunition molecular acid shells. Now these may be taken on models with the Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule and dreadnoughts of any type in a Dark Angel's detachment equipped with a heavy bolters or twin linked heavy bolter as additional ammunition for plus 5 points per model. Molecular acid shells now are 36-inch range, strength 5, AP 4 flat. It does still retain the Flesh Bane and Heavy 3 obviously, but previously it was you'd roll a d6 for the entire unit if it's multiple heavy bolters or model, and the value of that d6 roll would be its armor penetration value. A slight nerf, but it's retained Flesh Bane. I think it was a little bit too powerful for 5 points in the previous version. Either way, it's a nice touch for flat wounding infantry on a 2-up, but still 5 points could add up across a whole heavy bolter unit. The next part is the Hexagrammation. Now I previously mentioned this in the Legion Astartes special rule and what it was like to have a Dark Angel, should we say, which was signs of the Hexagrammation. This is a bit wordy. It essentially boils down into 6 options that are applicable to character units. Not character units, Tom. The character subtype or the independent character special rule. And each option costs 25 points. Not great. 25 points does add up across the whole unit, the whole army. A given unit may include models with the different signs of the Hexagrammation special rules, in which case that unit gains the benefit of each individual sign of the Hexagrammation special rule present in its ranks. However, no unit gains a cumulative bonus from multiple models with the same signs of the Hexagrammation special rule. No model may have more than one signs of the Hexagrammation special rule. The effects of any of the signs of the Hexagrammation special rule may only be applied to units entirely made up of models with the Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule. So yes, they've said you can have multiple. There are units that are made up of multiple characters, but again, why you'd want to do that is it's a little bit gamey and whack, and 25 points for each option. It'd be a ridiculous point sink. So what are the signs of the Hexagrammation options, I hear you ask? So the first one is Sign of the Stormwing. A model with this special rule and all models in a unit with the Legions Astartes Dark Angel special rule it has joined or is part of make snapshots at a ballistic skill of 2. Great, not too bad. Is it worth 25 points? The jury's out on that one. Next one Sign of the Deathwing. A model with this special rule may re-roll the first failed to hit roll of any phase while engaged in a challenge. Nice and fluffy. For the Deathwing, they were very combat oriented and specialist. Sign of the Dreadwing. An infantry model with this special rule and any infantry unit it joins with a Dark Angels special rule may choose to move a flat 4 inches through difficult terrain rather than rolling any dice and may re-roll failed dangerous terrain tests. Yeah, that's not bad. Although most people often chance a difficult terrain test at 6 inches, but a flat 4 inches could be useful rather than rolling a 1. Next one, Sign of the Iron Wing. When rolling on the vehicle damage table, a unit with a Legion of Astartes Dark Angel special rule that includes at least one model with this special rule counts all results of crew shaken as crew stunned instead. Yeah, it could be good. Used on a heavy support squad, you could more often than not make them snap shoot and unable to move. Useful. Sign of the Firewing. A model with this special rule and any models in a unit with Legion of Astartes Dark Angel special rule that it has joined or is part of gains Hatred Characters special rule. Lots of special rules in this. Hatred is pretty good. Reroll to hits in the first round of combat. Sign of the Ravenwing, and lastly, a model with this special rule and any models in a unit with Legions of Astartes Dark Angel special rule that it has joined or is part of may re-roll any run, fallback or thrust distances. Now, out of all of them, personally I think Sign of the Stormwing could be used to some effect. You get my thoughts and opinions on that later on. Sign of the Dreadwing is useful. Flat 4 inches is better than the risk of rolling a 1 and re-rolling dangerous terrain tests. Useful. The other ones, yeah, not worth 25 points in my opinion. You will understand why they've put those in as we get to the rights of war later. And finally, the last part of the science of hexagrammation is the science of the Hecatonistica. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just phonetically sounding it out. Any model with the independent character special rule may take a single option from the following for another 25 points. And these are more specialised to the character you've taken it on rather than affecting the whole squad. And these are as follows. The first one is Augurs of Weakness. When making an armour penetration roll against a target with armour 11 or more on the facing targeted, a model with this special rule may add +1 to the strength of the weapon used to make the attack. Yeah, it's okay. Again, you've got to build very specialised models and around these things. Next one, Icons of Resolve. This model gains +1 attack on any turn in which it or a unit it is part of is charged by one or more enemy units. That's great. Getting an extra attack on the charge, or if you are charged, it's like counter attack on steroids. Guardians of Sanctity is the following. When making a Deny the Witch roll for a unit that includes this model, roll an additional d6 and discard the lower result before determining if the roll succeeds or fails. I've stated my thoughts on Deny the Witch rolls previously. I think the way the whole psychic phase works is a little bit of a waste of time. I certainly wouldn't spend 25 points to give this option. Slayers of Kings. This model may re-roll failed to hit rolls of 1 when engaged in combat or in a challenge with any model with a weapon skill of 5 or higher. Okay, fairly specific, but not horrendous. Hunters of Beasts. This model may re-roll failed to wound rolls of 1 when engaged in combat with any model with a toughness of 5 or any failed to wound roll if the target's toughness is 6 or higher. Okay, is that worth 25 points? Not to me. Reapers of Hosts. This model gains +1 attack in any fight sub-phase which they begin in base contact with more than one enemy model. Yeah, that's not too bad. Reaping Blow all the time without an initiative modifier. That's not too bad. And the final one is Breakers of Witches. This model may reroll to all to hit and to wound rolls in close combat when attacking an enemy unit affected by a blessing psychic power, or an enemy unit with either the Psycho of Brotherhood or Psycho Sorcerer's Psychic Pilot, Demon, or Demon of the Ruinstorm special rule. Whew, that was a lot. A lot of words. But that in itself isn't too bad. You could really list Taylor with that. If you were against demons, you'd probably want that across most of your independent characters that you take. But should you list Taylor? I'll leave that up to you. Now, with the rather wordy hexagrammation and signs of the Hexatonistica out the way, we move on to the Dark Angel's Rite of Wars. Now, there's quite a few of these, but I really like how Forge World have tried to make all of these attributed to their what they label wings. The first one is probably my favourite, and it is labelled the Eschaton Imperative. And what does this give you? First effect is Dread Legion. Legion Destroyer Squads and Dreadwing Interrupters may be taken as troops choices in a primary detachment using this Rite of War. Awesome. Legion Destroyer Squads are great, and Dreadwing Interrupters, who I'll preview for you in a bit, are good themselves as well. And being able to take them as troops choices, brilliant. The next effect is Marshal of the Eschaton. All enemy units within 12 inches and that can draw line of sight to an independent character with the sign of the Dreadwing special rule have their leadership value reduced by 1. This effect does not apply to units that are immune to the effects of the Fear special rule. This effect is not cumulative, and any given enemy unit may only be effective by it once, regardless of how many models with this special rule are within range and line of sight. Not too bad. It could have an effect in combat, I assume. Masters of the Blackened Earth. For the duration of the game, all open ground areas of the battlefield outside of any player's deployment zone counts as difficult terrain. Those areas previously defined as difficult terrain, i.e. woods, ruins, etc., remain as difficult terrain, while impassable terrain, fortifications and buildings are unaffected by this rule. Before any models are deployed, the Dark Angels player may choose to place up to 3 Eschaton markers, in brackets represented by a spare dice base or any other specifically modelled token, anywhere in the playing area that is 6 inches from a table edge or any player's deployment zone. The area within 6 inches of an Eschaton marker, including terrain pieces within the zone of this effect, is counted as dangerous terrain in addition to any other effects for the duration of the game. They have added some right wordy thing that essentially you get to place those tokens and mess about with how the opponent moves across them, because as you'll find out with the rest of this Rite of War, most of your units are going to have Sign of the Dreadwing, which enables them to move a flat 4 inches through difficult terrain and reroll in dangerous terrain tests. The last effect of this Rite of War is Salt the Earth and Burn the Sky. All infantry units with the Legions of Astartes Dark Angel special rule that include at least one model with the sign of the Dreadwing special rule, and all independent characters with the sign of the Dreadwing special rule, may take the following additional options. All models in the unit may be equipped with rag grenades for plus 30 points per unit. That's pricey. Not sure if that's worth it. All models in the unit may be equipped with stasis grenades. Now, it doesn't list stasis grenades here, but their profile is on the Lions War Gear page, so we'll get to those later. But the stasis grenades under this Rite of War cost 30 points per unit. Lastly, any model with the option to take a heavy weapon may instead take a Plasma Incinerator plus 25 points per model. And the Plasma Incinerator wasn't listed in a special war gear for the Dark Angels, but it is under the Legion Interrupters, and we'll get to that later. But for 25 points for it, it's fairly pricey again. I mean, I understand why they've done it, because those are powerful things, but it all adds up very quickly, as the limitations will point out we'll get to next. All compulsory troops choices must be filled by either Legion Destroyer squads or Dreadwing Interruptor squads. Not too bad as a limitation, because you're going to want those. Destroyer squads are combat capable and have a lot of punch, and Dreadwing Interruptors, as you'll find out later or soon, are very powerful. Next limitation: all compulsory troops choices in a detachment must include at least one model with the sign of the Dreadwing special rule, which, what I said earlier, with in this Rite of War, where you can affect the play-in zone with those Eschaton markers, as said previously, you are essentially immune to the effects. The next one: if the enemy has any units that are not falling back in their deployment zone at the end of the game, then the opposing player gains +1 victory point, or +3 victory points if that unit is scoring. So you basically have to kill everything, otherwise you are ceding victory points. Not the worst downside if you're taking Legion Destroyer squads as your troops choices. You're probably going to have a few other dirty things up your sleeve, and it's not impossible to wipe everything out of their deployment zone. The Army's Warlord must have the sign of the Dreadwing special rule or be Lionel Johnson, so forcing you to spend the 25 points on your Warlord, unless you're taking the Lion. All infantry units and independent characters included in this army must be deployed embarked within a transport vehicle, including those placed into reserves. Now that adds up more than the Hexagrammation sign of the Dreadwing does, because you're forcing you to take rhinos when you might not necessarily want to on everything infantry. So it's basically another tax upon a tax to enable you to take these things, which I like how they're doing it, but it adds up rather quickly. The army may not include a fortification detachment or allied detachment. You're not really going to need anything like that with how much firepower you bring in, and no unit from a detachment using this Rite of War can be joined by independent characters not part of this detachment. Yeah, that's a powerful one. Probably my most favourite one, Rite of War that is, sorry, across the ones available to the Dark Angels. The next Rite of War is labelled the Steel Fist. Effects of this give you Iron Brethren. Legion Predator Strike Squadrons may be selected as compulsory troops choices for this detachment. Marshal of the Steel Fist. Independent character models in this detachment with the sign of the Iron Wing grant any transport vehicle in which they are embarked a 6+ invulnerable save, or increase an existing invulnerable save by +1. Armoured Assault. All non-Terminator infantry units except jump infantry or jetpack infantry with 10 or fewer models and at least one model with the sign of the Iron Wing special rule in this detachment may take a Proteus or Phobos Land Raider as a dedicated transport. Infantry units with 15 or more models may select a Spartan assault tank as a dedicated transport. Lastly, Aegis of Iron. Whenever a unit from this detachment that includes at least one model with a sign of the Iron Wing special rule is embarked upon a transport that suffers damage, it may re-roll failed pinning test or armour saves that result from said damage. This affects only the embarked unit, not the transport itself. All pretty good. This is the Iron Wing version of the Rite of War. If you all want to take it, it's not a bad one. The limitations are as follows. All infantry units in the army must begin the game deployed in a transporting vehicle with the tank type that has sufficient transport capacity to carry them. No more than a single unit of each of the following unit types may be included in any army using this Rite of War: bike, jet bike or flyer. At least half of the units in the army must consist entirely of vehicles with the tank type. The army may not take a fortification detachment or allied detachment. And finally, no unit from a detachment using this Rite of War can be joined by independent characters that are not part of this detachment. As it goes, as for the Iron Wing, yeah, it's cool. If you want to take, it's another option and way to take the Predator Strike Squadrons as compulsory troop choices. Could make them scoring, giving your transport an invuln save with an independent character inside is okay, and having another option to give your infantry land raiders is great in and of itself. As fluffy as it is pretty good. Not one that I would take. I prefer infantry instead of tanks. The next Rite of War is called Storm of War. The effects of this are Masters of the Storm of War. Any Legion Tactical Squad or Legion Assault Squad selected as a compulsory troops choice and consisting of at least 20 models may include a Legion Centurion. This Centurion is considered part of the squad it is purchased with, may not leave it during play, nor select any console upgrades, and may not be chosen as the army's warlord. Not bad. You're basically uber buffing squad sergeant in a sense. And the final effect is Marshal of the Storm. Legion Praetors and Legion Centurions in this detachment with the sign of the Stormwing special rule may attempt to issue a single order each per game turn. Orders affecting the issuing model and the unit it has joined, with no given unit able to benefit from more than one order in any turn. Once an order has been successfully issued to a unit in any given turn, any further orders issued to it in that turn automatically fail, so you can't super buff a unit. To successfully issue said order, the model must declare the order it intends to use and take a leadership test. All order effects last until the start of the controlling player's next turn and affect only the issuing model and Legion Tactical Squad or Legion Assault Squad with the model. Essentially, these boil down to, like in Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard, the orders you can give them. The first one is hold the line. Declare at the start of the movement phase. May not be used if engaged in combat. If successfully issued, the unit company gains a feel no pain of 6+, but may not move. Volley fire is the following. Declare at the start of the shooting phase. May only target a Legion Tactical Squad. If successfully issued, the unit accompanied may make a Fury of the Legion attack even if it has moved that turn, but not if it ran or embarked from a transport in the same turn. Tasty. Next is full assault. Declare at the start of the assault phase before any charges are declared. May only be used if not engaged in combat at the start of that phase. If successfully issued, the unit company gains the Furious Charge special rule. Tasty. Again, if you're putting these on assault squads, very nice. You become a pseudo Blood Angel almost. And the last order is Field Reserves. Declare at the start of the controlling player's turn if this unit is in reserve, regardless of the current turn number. If successfully issued, the unit accompany automatically passes its reserve test and gains the outflank special rule. Nice. Not too bad at all. Limitations of this Rite of War are compulsory troops choices in detachment with a Legion of Stasis Dark Angel special rule must include at least one model with a sign of the Stormwing, so that's 25 points per unit. No unit selected as a compulsory troops choice may take a dedicated transport. I can't speak. This army must include more Legion Assault or Legion Tactical Squads combined than the total number of all other units selected. Any Centurion selected as part of compulsory troops choices do not count as additional units for the purpose of that rule. So you're having to field a lot of infantry for this Rite of War. The army's warlord must have the sign of the Storming special rule or be Lion. L. Johnson. The army may not include a fortifications detachment or allied detachment. And no unit from a detachment using this Rite of War can be joined by independent characters that are not part of this detachment. All in all, nice and fluffy Rite of War if you are wanting to take the Stormwing. And the next Rite of War is called the Unbroken Vow. This depicts the Deathwing, so the ones in bone. The effects of this are the Hammer of Caliban. Legion Veteran Squads and Legion Terminator Squads may be selected as troops choices in this detachment. Great, they are very powerful units, nice to have. Marshal of the Unbroken Vow. Independent character models with the Legions of Astartes, Dark Angels, and Sign of the Deathwing special rules in this detachment gain +1 attack while within an objective. Fairly situational. Not many missions in 30k that use objectives, at least out of the red books. The final effect is Death is not the end. Any unit with a Legion of Astartes Dark Angel special rule that includes at least one model with a sign of the Deathwing special rule gains a Feel No Pain 6+, whilst it has at least one model within 6 inches of any objective. If it already has the Feel No Pain special rule, then the rule is increased by 1 step, i.e. from a 6 to a 5 to a 5 to a 4. So you could put apothecaries with these Deathwing units, and you'll have 4-up Feel No Pain within 6 inches of an objective. Nice effects to take and have, but the following limitations will convey as to why I feel this is a poor Rite of War. They are as follows. All compulsory troops choices must be filled by Legion Veteran squads or Legion Terminator squads. Not bad in and of itself. All compulsory troops choices with the Legion of Stasis Dark Angel special rule must include at least one model with the sign of the Deathwing special rule, so 25 points across each of your compulsory troops. After deployment has been completed, the Dark Angels player must place a single additional objective at the centre of the table or as close as possible. At the end of any game turn in which the Dark Angels player does not control this objective with a unit that includes at least one model with the sign of the Deathwing special rule, the opposing player gains +1 victory point, or +3 victory points if the opposing player controls it. I'll get to my thoughts and opinions of it in a sec. The army's warlord must have the sign of the Deathwing special rule or be Lionel Johnson. The army may not include an allied detachment, and no unit from a detachment using this Rite of War can be joined by an independent character that are not part of this detachment. So overall, that limitation and drawback of ceding victory points continuously to your opponent probably make this the worst Rite of War in the book. All your opponent has to do is know that they are what Rite of War you're taking, and they need to control that objective that you've placed in the middle. And yes, you can still play the rest of the mission, but if they are savvy, they are placing a scoring unit on that objective, and they're getting 3 points every turn they control it. And it's just, wow. It's not worth the benefits that it gives you. So the penultimate Rite of War is labelled the Seeker's Arrow. The effects of this are the Eyes of Caliban. Legion Jetbike Skyhunter squadrons and Legion Outrider squads may be selected as troops choices in a detachment using this Rite of War. Marshal of the Seeker's Arrow. Independent character models in the detachment with the sign of the Ravenwing special rule may take the Hit and Run special rule for a further 20 points. So not only have you had to spend 25 points to give them the sign of the Ravenwing, you then spend another 20 points for Hit and Run. Okay. Next effect, the Arrow Knows the Path. A unit with this detachment, that includes at least one model with the sign of the Ravenwing special rule, gains the Outflank special rule, again, and arrives from reserves on the roll of a 2-up. Useful. More often than not, most people roll a 2, as opposed to a 3 that's required for reserves. Graceful, Enduring, and Deadly is a final effect. Any unit that includes at least one model with the sign of the Ravenwing special rule may choose to add +2 inches to one of the following each game turn, either a run, turbo boost distance, charge distance, or consolidation move distance. The effects of those are okay. Not too bad, is it? Well, nowhere near as bad as the Deathwing Rite of War previously. The limitations of this detachment with this Rite of War may only include vehicles of fast, skimmer, or flyer types. If you're building around this Rite of War, that's not too hard. An army using this Rite of War is limited to a single heavy support choice, no matter which force organisation chart is selected. To be fair, the way this Rite of War plays, you don't want too many heavy supports. All jet bike or bike unit selected as non-compulsory troop choices must begin the game in reserve. Okay. All compulsory troop choices of the Legions of Stasis Dark Angel special rule in this detachment must include at least one model with a sign of the Ravenwing special rule. So again, you have to spend the 25 points. The army may not include a fortifications detachment or allied detachment, and as is continuous throughout these Rite of Wars, no unit from a detachment using this Rite of War can be joined by an independent character that is not part of the detachment. Yeah, that's okay if you're wanting to build around the Ravenwing, in my opinion. Not too bad. And the final Rite of War in Crusade is the Serpent's Bane. And this is for the Firewing Carder. The effects of this are as follows. Strike Force, Legion Seeker Squads and Firewing Enigmatic may be taken as troop choices in a primary detachment using this Rite of War. I'll cover the Firewing Enigmatic soon. Priority Target Kill List. At the start of the game, the controlling player must select 3 enemy HQ, elites or Lord of War choices as priority targets and declare these chosen units to their opponent. All units in this detachment that include at least one model with a sign of the Firewing special rule may add +1 to all to wound or armor penetration rolls made against these priority targets. If the enemy does not include at least 3 HQ, elites or Lords of War choices, then any remaining units in the enemy army may be designated to fill the remaining required priority targets. That's okay. +1 to all to wound and armor penetration rolls. It's to all of them, so it's both in shooting and combat. Next effect is Marshal of the Ever-Burning Flame. Independent character models with Legions of Astartes, Dark Angel special rule, and Sign of the Firewing special rule gains +1 attack when locked in combat with a priority target. Useful, not too bad. And the final effect is Forward Deployment Protocol. Up to 3 troops choices that include at least one model with the Sign of the Firewing special rule chosen by the controlling player may be given the Infiltrate special rule, and if deployed no more than 17 inches from a priority target, gain the Rage special rule until the end of the second game turn. Nice. Limitations. All compulsory troop choices must be filled by either Legion Seeker Squads or Legion Assault Squads. Legion Seeker Squads are underrated in my opinion. Ballistic Skill 5 is tasty and they have preferred enemy to a chosen unit and can take combi weapons. All in all, a nice compulsory troops choice. And Assault Squads, yeah, they're not bad. All compulsory troops choices in this detachment with a Legion of Astartes Dark Angel special rule must include at least one model with a sign of the Firewing special rule. As you've seen throughout these Rite of Wars, it's just the making you build around your chosen wing. The army's warlord must have the sign of the Firewing special rule or be Lionel Johnson. An army using this Rite of War may only claim victory at the end of the game if all 3 priority targets are destroyed or otherwise removed from play as casualties. If any remain on the battlefield at the end of play, then the Dark Angel player loses the game regardless of victory points accumulated or other victory conditions in play. I'll get to that like I did with the Deathwing one in a bit. And lastly, the army may not include a fortifications detachment or allied detachment, and no unit from a detachment using this Rite of War can be joined by independent characters not part of this detachment. Now, automatically losing the game, going back to that limitation previously, just why? I mean, all your opponent has to do is be savvy enough and they just keep them out your way. But I like that they've tried to make all of those Rite of Wars fluffy. My favourite, I stated, was the Eschaton Imperative. It's the easiest one to build around, although you do get taxed by the sign of the Dreadwing special rule limitations and your transport limitations. But overall, fluffy from Forge World, but limiting too. With the Legion special rules out of the way and the Rite of Wars, it was all very wordy and may have been a bit boring, I do apologise. We move on to the fun stuff, and these are the Legion specific units. First up in the book is an elite's choice, and it is the Inner Circle Knights Synovium. Now, they are a favourite unit of mine. Personally, I really like the sculpts, although I think 1 or 2 options that Forge World put in the kits, i.e. the capes and some of the winged icons that you can glue on, become a bit much. There is a lot of trim and a lot of detail on the models, and maybe a bit much for some, but personally I really like them. A unit of 5 comes in at 275 points and is made up of 4 Order Cenobites and 1 Order Preceptor. The Order Cenobites is Weapon Skill 5, Ballistic Skill 4, Strength Toughness 4, 1 wound, Initiative 4, 2 attacks, Leadership 9, 2 up save. The Order Preceptor is exactly the same, but Weapon Skill 6. The unit type, the Order Preceptor Infantry Character and Order Cenobite Infantry Character, so they can all issue and accept challenges. The war gear, cataphractic pattern Terminator armor, Tyrannic Greatsword, and a plasma caster. This is great. Tyrannic Greatsword's okay. I've stated my thoughts on those previously. And a plasma caster is 12-inch range, strength 4, AP2, assault 2, ignores cover, and plasma flame. Plasma flame I went through before. When making Overwatch attack, any failed to hit roll may be re-rolled, but as we'll get to their special rules in a sec, you may be thinking, oh, they can't fire Overwatch, but they in fact can. The rest of the special rules for the unit, Legion Statis Dark Angels, so they get all that goodness. They are stubborn, so no modifier if they lose combat. Adamantium Will, okay, so you re-roll and deny the witches, but only on powers that target them. My opinions on the Psychic Phase in 30k have been made clear, and they are Order Exemplars. Dedicated Transport, an Inner Circle Synovium squad numbering 5 may take a Phobos Land Raider or a Spartan if they number 10 or fewer. The war gear options are as follows: up to 5 additional Order Cenobites at 45 points each. That's why I said 44. Any model in the unit may exchange their Tyrannic Greatsword for one of the following, and that is a Thunderhammer for free. Great. There's no extra cost on there. That's just, why wouldn't you? AP2. Yep, fun. And the Order Preceptor may take any of the following, either a grenade harness at 5 points or digital laser at 10 points. All well and good. You can buff an additional attack on that Preceptor for 10 points. Now, stepping back slightly, one of their special rules is Order Exemplars. And when an Inner Circle Knight Synovium squad is selected, before play has begun, as part of a Legion's Astartes army, a single option from that Science or Hecatonista special rule, see previous page, must be selected for the unit. All models in that Inner Knight Circle gain the chosen option for no additional points cost. And those were the options where you could take like Augurs of Weakness and Breakers of Witches and Hold the Line and stuff like that. So you can mould these to how you want them to fight in the game, and it's for free, so you're not spending that extra 25 points, and it affects the whole squad. There is a designer's note here. In general, this option should be selected before knowing what an opponent intends to field, and in a tournament or campaign play should not be changed between games. Ideally, the option chosen should be reflected by the icons and insignia on the models themselves. So they are encouraging you not to list tailor. I cannot express that enough, that I like that they've put that in there, and they're keeping with the feeling of Horus Heresy in general, is that you play to the fluff and you paint around the fluff. The last part of Order Exemplar is going back to what I said earlier about Overwatch and cataphractic pattern Terminator armor. In addition, such is the superlative skill of the Inner Knights squad that they make Overwatch attacks despite being equipped with cataphractic pattern Terminator armor. So 5 of these, if you charge them, they are getting 10 Overwatch attacks at strength 4 AP2, ignores cover and plasma flame, so you are re-rolling. And what you can do is, because they are character, you can take a Scions of the Hexagrammation. Going back previously, you could make one of them the Scion of the Stormwing, which enables them to Overwatch Ballistic Skill 2 up, so you'll be hitting on 5s in Overwatch re-rolling. Yeah, fun times. Next Legion Special Unit is what they dub a HQ option, but I will explain further as it goes on. These are the Deathwing Companions attachment, and it comes in at 155 points for a composition of 5. This includes 4 Deathwing Companions and 1 Deathwing Oathbearer. The Deathwing Companions have a stat line of Weapon Skill 5 and then Ballistic Skill Strength Toughness 4, 1 wound, Initiative 4, 2 attacks, Leadership 8 and a 2-up save, and the Deathwing Oathbearer is the same but with 1 additional wounds. They are unit type. Deathwing Companions are infantry, and the Deathwing Oathbearer is infantry character subtype. Their war gear is as follows: Artificer Armour, explaining a 2-up save, Tyrannic Greatsword or Calibanite Warblade, a Bolter, a Bolt Pistol, a Frag and Grenades, and a Refractor Field on the Oathbearer only. All well and good so far for 150 points. Special rules, Legion of Stasis Dark Angels and all that gives you. Chosen Warriors, Signs of the Deathwing, Deathsworn Companions, and Deathwing Retinue. I will get to those shortly because it's quite a bit in depth. Dedicated transport, a Deathwing Companion detachment may take a Lino. A Lino? I don't know where that came from. A Rhino or a Land Raider Proteus as a dedicated transport. The options: the Deathwing Companion unit may take up to an additional 5 Deathwing Companions at plus 30 points each. That is pricey. They may take Melter Bombs for 25 points. Any model in the unit may exchange their Tyrannic Greatsword or Calibanite Warblade for the following: a Power Fist for 5 points. That's not too bad. Any model in the unit may exchange their bolt for one of the following: a Combi Weapon is 10 points, a Plasma Pistol is 15 points, a Cytherian Pattern Aegis for 10 points. And I will explain those shortly. If the Dark Angel Legion Praetor, which is part of the Deathwing Companion Detachment's Force Organisation chart choice, has a jump pack, then the Deathwing Companion Detachment may also be equipped with jump packs for plus 15 points per model. But if this option is taken, then the squad may no longer select a dedicated transport, and every member of the squad must be so upgraded. Oof. Starts that up. Further on, an option for the Deathwing Companions is that they are Deathwing Terminator Companions, and all that fun it brings you. If the Dark Angels Legion Praetor, which is part of the Deathwing Companion Detachment's Force Org chart choice, has Terminator armor of any type, the squad may exchange their war gear for a set of Terminator armor of the same type. If the squad is upgraded with Terminator armor, then every member of the squad must be upgraded in the same way and has access to the following options rather than those shown previously. The Deathwing Terminator Companions must all be upgraded with one of the following: Terminator armor of any variety with Combi Bolter and Calibanite Warblade for 50 points each. It starts to add up very quickly. Any model in the unit may exchange their Combi Bolts for one of the following: Combi Plasma or Combi Melter for 7 points, Combi Grenade Launcher with Stasis Frag and Crack Shells for 12 points each. You could play in some nice Stasis Grenade shenanigans there. Any model may upgrade their Calibanite Warblade for one of the following: Tyrannic Greatsword for free, Power Fist for 5 points, or a Thunder Hammer for free. I know which you'd take if it's for free. Any model in the unit may exchange both their Combi Bolter and Calibanite Warblade for Twin Lightning Claws for free. Not so much that one for free, but that's the AP system of Horus Heresy. The Deathwing Oathbearer may take a Grenade Harness for 10 points. The Deathwing Terminator Companion Detachment, numbering 5 models or fewer, may take a Land Raider Proteus as a dedicated transport and may not take a Rhino. I just wanted to get all those options out of the way before we go into their special rules. I know I've been stating previously that it all alludes to a Praetor that this Deathwing Companion Detachment is part of, and that is because of the following special rules. Deathwing Retinue. A Deathwing Companion Detachment may only be chosen as a retinue for a Legion Praetor with a Legions of Astartes Dark Angel special rule, or Legion Special Character with a Warlord and Legions of Astartes Dark Angel special rules, and may not be taken as part of an army on their own. And you essentially boil it down to they are part of that HQ choice. And it goes on to say, once deployed, the Legion Praetor or Legion Special Character may not voluntarily leave the Deathwing Companion Detachment. So there are reasons that will become apparent as to why that is the case. I did say previously the Cytherian Pattern Aegis, and if you've seen their models, it's basically their funky looking storm shield. The Cytherian Pattern Aegis can be used in one of two ways. It can either provide the bearer with a 4-up invul save against shooting attacks and a 5-up invul against melee attacks, or it can be deployed. And this entails the controlling player may choose to deploy the Cytherian Pattern Aegis at the end of any of their own movement phases. The unit must be deployed on the table and not embark in a transport vehicle of any kind to do so. As long as at least 2 models in the unit are equipped with a Cytherian Pattern Aegis, While deployed, the entire unit gains a 4-up invuln save against shooting attacks and a 5-up invuln save against melee attacks, and any models engaging the unit in assault have their initiative reduced by 1. However, while deployed, the models equipped with Cytherian pattern Aegis may neither make shooting or melee attacks. The controlling player may choose to end the deployment at the start of any of their movement phases, or if the number of Cytherian pattern Aegis equipped models in the unit drop below 2, the effect immediately ends. Now, that was all very wordy, but I believe the benefits could, if used situationally, outweigh the drawbacks of not being able to move and having to have more than 2 or more shields left in the squad. To do it in game, for the way Forge World have made the unit available to us, it only comes with 2 shields anyway. So if you're wanting 3 shields, you're going to have to kit bash or buy 2 squads. Choice is completely up to you if you want to do that or not. I like the idea of them. I'm not sure it's worth what they charge. The final special rule is Deathwing Companions, and this goes back to what they were saying with the Praetor or special character cannot leave the Deathwing Companion attachment, as any model with the independent character special rule that is part of the Deathwing Companion unit cannot be targeted by use of the Precision Shots or Precision Strike special rule, and the Deathwing Companions and Deathwing Oathbearers automatically pass any lookouts test they are called upon to make. So the idea of this squad is that they are made up of the elites that will lay down their life to protect their liege lord or leader. A fast attack option for Legion of Astartes Dark Angels is following Enigmatic Cabal. And these are 150 points. Now, I previously stated these in the Firewing Rite of War, and the unit composition is 3 Firewing Enigmati. It's double I. My English isn't not my best subject. Their stat line is as follows: weapon skill 5, ballistic skill strength toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 5, 3 attacks, leadership value of 10, and a 3-up save. Very tasty so far. Unit type is jump infantry character, so they can all issue and accept challenges. The war gear is power armor, Calamanite charge blade, needle pistol, shroud bombs, and an Enigmatic pattern jump pack. I will get to those shortly. Their Legion special rules, unit special rules are Legion of Astartes Dark Angels, Scions of the Firewing, Scout, and Hatred characters. Tasty, not too bad. You could send these after HQ units or character units. Options that they can take is 1 model in the unit may take a grenade launcher with stasis, frag, and crack shells for plus 20 points. So you could again send some stasis, initiative 1 shenanigans, fun times for your opponent if you are so inclined. Now, going over their war gear, the Calamanite charge blade is a melee weapon. It's plus 1 strength, AP 3, with a special rule of charge blade. And this entails at the start of any fight subphase, the controlling player may choose to activate the charge cells. If this is done, it affects all models in the unit with the charge blade. Affected unit gains their rending and gets hot special rules until the end of the fight subphase. So that AP3 could then take out any Artificer armor, Terminator armor unit or character. But you have the gets hot drawback on that. And bear in mind that is melee itself, so with the needle pistol, that's pistol, you're getting plus 1 attack there. So that's 4 attacks standard. The Enigmatic pattern jump pack. Any unit that includes at least 1 model with the Enigmatic pattern jump pack gains a 5-up cover save and cannot be the target of Overwatch attacks if the Enigmati choose to activate the jump packs during the assault phase. Useful. They just seem to chuck all the rules on these new units. So if we go back to their war gear, I think they are a tasty unit, in my opinion. 2 wounds each, initiative 5, with a rending plus 1 strength weapon, and Shroud Bombs. Yeah, 150 points. It may seem a lot, but I think they could do a lot. I'm excited to see what Forge World might release for these models. If not, if it takes too long, I might have to kit bash my own. Another elite option is the Deathwing Interrupters. Comes in at 160 points, and unit composition of 4 Interrupters and 1 Interrupter Perfectus. Their stat line is as follows: weapon, ballistic skill, strength, toughness of 4s all round, 1 wound each, initiative 4, 1 attack for an Interrupter, 2 attacks for the Perfectus, leadership 9 for an Interrupter, and leadership 10 for the Perfectus, and a 3-up armor save all round. Unit type of Interrupter Infantry and Interrupter Perfectus Infantry character subtype. War gear is power armor, plasma burner, combat weapon or chainsword, frag, crack, and rad grenades. What is a plasma burner? I hear you say. I mentioned it previously. It's the 12-inch range, strength 4, AP 2 fun times, assault D3 plus 1 starred as you roll once for the entire unit, and that one roll is applicable for the D3. It ignores cover and plasma flame. So plasma flame is you re-roll failed Overwatch attacks, and ignores cover on anything AP2 is dirty. Special rules are Legion Status Dark Angels, Signs of the Dreadwing, and Stubborn. So Signs of the Dreadwing, it has their 25 points costed in for the Rite of War, the Eschaton Imperative. So all round useful, and Stubborn, nice addition there. Dedicated transport options: an Interrupter squad numbering 10 models may take a Land Raider Proteus as a dedicated transport. Not the greatest option. The war gear options that they are allowed to take: the unit may take up to 10 additional Interrupters at 30 points each. It becomes pricey after a while. For every 5 models in unit, one may exchange their plasma burner for a missile launcher with Suspenser Web with rad missiles and stasis missiles for 15 points. Nice. Stasis missile shenanigans right there. Or a plasma incinerator with Suspenser Web for 15 points. Now the plasma incinerator is essentially a buffed up version of the plasma burner. It has 18-inch range, still strength 4, still AP 2, but it is heavy D3 plus 4. Again, the way it's worded is roll once for the entire unit before firing. Each model in the unit fires that number of shots, so your one roll for the plasma burners applies to the plasma incinerator. So you're getting a possible 7 shots from one gun and 4 shots from another with your D3 plus 1 and D3 plus 4 respectively. It still ignores cover and has plasma flame. Now with it being heavy and a Suspenser Web, you will only get your shots if you move with them out of this gun at 9 inches. That's something to bear in mind. So your trade-off with moving and range, it could be quite substantial. And the final option they are eligible to take is the Interrupter Perfectors may take up to 3 Phosphex bombs for 10 points each. I do like a cheeky Phosphex bomb. I think I've made that clear in my Death Guard Legion review. Overall, it's a very powerful unit. What you see a lot of people doing is putting this unit in a Termite assault drill and deploying it and deleting units, albeit infantry units. They won't really do much to anything armoured, but that's a lot of shots you can get out of that unit. A heavy support option for a Dark Angels Legion is an Ironwing Exindio class Battle Automata for 300 points. The unit composition is 1 Exindio Battle Automata, has a weapons and ballistic skill of 5, strength 6, toughness 7, wounds of 6, initiative 4, 4 attacks, a leadership value of 10 with a 3-up save. This unit type is monstrous creature. Ouch. It's pretty good. Its war gear, as standard, is 2 Dreadnought close combat weapons, 2 Manipulator Arms, 2 Combi Bolters, and an internal refractor field. The special rules: Shackled Artificer, Rampage, Hatred Everything, and Vengeful Rage. They're piling so much onto units nowadays for not very many points. I'll go through its options and special rules subsequently. Options being an Extended Battle Automaton exchange both a Dreadnought close combat weapon and a Manipulator Arm for one of the following. In brackets, it states this reduces the model's base attacks by 1. It can take an Athanax Pattern Phosphex canister launcher for 35 points, Tyrenius Pattern Nerve Induction Shredder for 20 points, a Magaron Pattern Automatic Pulse Cannon for 30 points, a Scytheron Pattern Graviton Flux Projector for 20 points. Apologies if I butchered any pronunciations there. An Extended Battle Automaton exchange both of its combi bots for the following: 2 Grav Guns at 10 points, 2 IRAD Cleansers at 20 points, and 2 Plasma Repeaters at 20 points. An Extended Battle Automaton may take any of the following up to 2 Hunter-Killer Missiles at 10 points each. Now, none of those weapon names, apart from obviously the Grav Guns, IRAD Cleansers, and Plasma Repeaters, will really mean much to you. The Relic Weapons are as follows, so that Athanax Pattern Phosphex Canister Launcher, that's 35 points, it has a range of 18 inches, Strength 5, AP 2, it's Heavy 1, Blast 3 inch, Barrage, Poison 3 up, Crawling Fire, and Lingering Death. So it's a toned down, heavily pointed Phosphex Canister Launcher off the Leviathan with only Barrage, Heavy, Blast 1. It's nowhere near as powerful for more points. Was it 15 points on Leviathan? Yeah, that needs an update. The following weapon is the Tyrenius Pattern Nerve Induction Shredder for 20 points, and that has a range of 24 inches, Strength 1, AP 2, but it's Heavy 6, Poison 4 up, Pinning, and Ignores Cover. Ignores Cover on AP 2 again. Why? Forge-rolled. Why? All very nice for 20 points. The next weapon is a Magaron Pattern Automatic Pulse Cannon. Has a range of 24 inches, Strength 8, AP 2, Heavy 3, Lance, and Shock Pulse. Just chuck all the options on it, Forge Rod. Strength 8 with Lance is pretty good, let's face it. So against armour, anything over armour 12, you'll only ever need a 4 to glance it, and it has Shock Pulse, so you get a 5, and you can make it snapshot. It could be good for chasing after some armour. And the final weapon option, which was the Scytherian Pattern Graviton Flux Projector for 20 points, is Template, Strength Star, AP 2, Heavy 1, Graviton Collapse, Torsion Crusher, no cover saves, Pinning. Now, I believe that's the same as the Graviton Collapse and Torsion Crusher off the Gravflux Bombard of the Leviathan. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I should have done some more research before starting this snippet. Now, the Manipulator Arms, which were part of its standard war gear, which it has 2 of. For each Manipulator Arm it has, an Extended may make an additional single attack per turn, as well as any others it would normally be able to make. These additional attacks are made using the following profile below. It's melee, it's +1 strength, AP 2, unwieldy, shred, and severing cut. It's just... yeah, I'm shaking my head. I don't know if it's conveyed across camera or not. They just give it so much. So what's it get? If you leave it as standard, 2 close combat weapons, it's +1, so that's 5 attacks base. Leave it with 2 Manipulator Arms, that's 2 other attacks, because it says for each Manipulator Arm it has. So that's 2 attacks coming in at unwieldy step, initiative 1. 5 attacks base, rampage, so if it's outnumbered you get in +D3 attacks, and hatred everything. Just, I don't think there's much that's going to stand up to it. And if you decided to put some other things on it, i.e. upgrade its combi bolters for the grav guns, and you've weakened a squad before you go in. It's got 2 hunter-killer missiles. It's just... anyway, moving on. Internal Refractor Field, it has a 5 up invul save, and in addition, should a model lose its last wound, then all models within D6 +1 inch suffers a Strength 5 AP hit. So yeah, okay, it's not immune to instant death weapons, but I think it's going to hurt, and not many armies have a plethora of instant death weapons. Moving on to its special rules. Shackled Artificer. Shackled Artificer models gain all of the following special rules: Fearless, Adamantium Wheel, Fire Protocol, Starred, Machine Creature Starred, Cybernetica Resilience Starred. And you have to see the Cybernetica Cortex special rule in page 110 of the Horus Heresy Mechanicum Tagmata army list. Yeah, and this all boils down to, if you've read the Primarch's novel Lionel Johnson, essentially this is a, what do they call it? It's the dreaded Silica Animus, or the Man of Iron, should we say, back in the Age of Darkness. But they've neutered it thoroughly, nowhere near as bad as it was, and hasn't got as much independence as they once had. And the First Legion are using them, or what's left of them, to their own gain. The last special rule is Vengeful Rage. At the end of any turn in which this model suffers one or more unsaved wounds on a roll of a d6 score of 1, the unit enters a Vengeful Rage and essentially becomes... it starts wrecking through everything, really. It turns on its friendly units and enemy units alike. While in a Vengeful Rage, the Incendio may be targeted as though it was an enemy model by friendly units. They basically need to take it down. During the movement phase, the model must move towards the nearest visible unit, regardless of friendly or enemy. If no unit is visible, more than one unit is equidistant to the unit, then the controlling player may move the model towards an enemy unit of the controller player's choice. During the shooting phase, you have to shoot at the same sort of thing with the two options, and in the assault phase it must declare a charge targeting the nearest visible unit, so on and so forth. It essentially realises that it's under the control of someone it doesn't want to be, and goes after them, and you really don't want this rampaging around, which is why it gives you the option of an Artificer kill switch, and essentially any Tech Marine or Forge Lord with Allegiance to Stasis Dark Angel special rule may take a kill switch for plus 5 points, and this boils down to you may inflict d6 wounds on a friendly model with a Shackled Artificer special rule as long as they are within 12 inches. No saves of any kind may be taken against these wounds. This counts as a shooting attack. If the use of an Artificer kill switch causes a friendly unit to be removed from play, then the opposing player gains no victory points for its destruction. Now, if you're taking one of these Iron Wing Incendios, you got to take that, because it's far too powerful to allow it to be go into a Vengeful Rage should it suffer any wounds. And let's face it, your opponent's going to want to take this out as quickly as possible, so always take a Tech Marine or Forge Lord and spend that 5 points, because it's going to hurt otherwise. Now we're on to the HQ options found within Crusade for the Dark Angels. Now I'm aware there is Holguin and Pharaoh Threadloss available as data sheets online. I realise this video is also cracking on a bit. I apologise for that, but they do have a lot of options to talk about, so I'm only going to talk about who is in the book. The first option is Cor Swain. He's 200 points. He's pretty good. He is weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 4, strength and toughness 4, also 4 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks, leadership 10, 2 up save. He's unique, obviously, and his infantry character. His warrior options or a standard is bolter, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, armour of the forest and the mantle of the champion, and the blade. The blade confers +2 strength, AP1, melee, two-handed, mastercrafted, and duelist triumph. Duelist triumph states when in fighting in challenge, all of the weapons attacks have the instant death special rule. Great. And the armour of the forest and the mantle of the champion is the grant Cor Swain a 2-up armour save, a 4-up involve save improved to 3-up involve a save against close combat attacks. Now, it's not very many units or characters within Horus Heresy that in close combat have a 3-up involve save, so for 200 points you're doing well. His special rules are Legion Stasis Dark Angels, so if he's fighting against someone of equal weapon skill, he'll still hit them on 3s. He's independent character, he's Master of the Legion, he's Sign of the Deathwing, so he will reroll the first failed hit in combat in a challenge. He has precision strikes, awesome, and he is a warlord. If he is your army's warlord, he has the Paladin of Glory, trait rather than rolling randomly on page 15 of the Legions Astartes Age of Darkness army list. This unit may only be taken as part of a Loyalist faction. All round great character, not quite up to par with Sigismund I wouldn't say, but still tasty nonetheless. The next HQ specific character available to the Dark Angels is named Marduk Cedras, Lord of the 23rd Order, Eschaton of the Deathwing, Preceptor of the Shattered Scepter. He comes in at 220 points. May seem steep, but he's a beast. He has Weapon Skill 6, Ballistic Skill 5, Strength, Toughness and Wounds of 4, Initiative 5, 4 attacks, Leadership 10 and a 2-up save. Unit type, infantry character. His war gear is a plasma burner, so that's the 12-inch range, assault D3 plus 1, plasma flame, and ignores cover. Strength 4 AP2, fun times. He has 3 phosphex bombs. You can already probably tell that I really like this character just because he has 3 phosphex bombs. The rest of it's just a bonus. He has a grenade harness. He has the Regalia of the Shattered Scepter. The Regalia is a suit of cataphractic pattern Terminator armor. In addition to the standard rules for such an item of war gear, the Regalia also allows its bearer to automatically pass any dangerous terrain tests he is called upon to make. And the last bit of war gear for him is the Death of Worlds. Now, yeah, you'll see in a second. So the Death of Worlds is a melee weapon. It's plus 5 strength, so yeah, a strength 9. Independent character there. That's Primarch level fun. AP2, it's unwieldy, but it also has a special rule of Curse of Dead Worlds. So okay, you're coming in at initiative 1, but the Curse of Dead Worlds is invulnerable saves taken against hits inflicted by this weapon are reduced by 1 to a minimum of 6 up. For example, a model with a 4 up invul struck by the Death of Worlds takes an invul save of a 5 up. So, come on. The amount they pile onto these new units. It is caveat that the Death of Worlds counts as a sword for the purposes of Mastery of the Blades Legion special rule for Dark Angels. So if he's against equal weapon skill, he will hit them on 3s. His special rules are Legion Astartes Dark Angels. He's an independent character, Master of the Legion, Sign of the Dreadwing, so he counts as caveats to the Eschaton imperative if you want to take him as your HQ choice. He's Ancient of War, which I will state soon, and is Warlord. If Marduk Cedras is your army's warlord, he has the Preceptor of the Shattered Scepter warlord trait rather than rolling randomly, and they are as follows. The Ancient of War, as stated previously, at the start of the game after deployment but before the first turn has begun, the controlling player may select a single faction from the allies in the Age of Darkness table, including either the agents of the Emperor Warmaster that is represented in the enemy army, both Marduk, Cedras, and any friendly units with the Legion Astartes Dark Angel special rule that have more than half of the unit's models within 6 inches of him gain the preferred enemy of that chosen faction special rule for the duration of the game. If Marduk Cedras is in reserve, this special rule has no effect. And his warlord trait is Preceptor for the Shattered Scepter. If Marduk Cedras is the army's warlord, then a unit of Inner Circle Knight Synovium may be selected as part of the same HQ choice, using up no additional slots in the Force org chart. However, if this option is selected, then neither a command squad nor a Deathwing Companion squad may be selected for Marduk Cedras. So, all in all, for 220 points, it just seems that they keep churning it out, is all I'm going to say. And finally, to round out the additions to Dark Angels, we have what you've possibly all been waiting for, is Lionel Johnson. He is the first Primarch, the Lion, the son of the Forest, the Primarch of the Dark Angels, and he will cost you 460 points to field him. I do not think that's anywhere near enough, but we'll get to that in a second. He has Weapon Skill 8, that's one of the higher ones for Primarchs. He's Ballistic Skill 5, standard, Strength 7, Toughness 6, Wounds 6, Initiative 7, 5 attacks, Leadership 10 and a 2-up save. He's an infantry character. His war gear, I will state all of them and then I'll go through them after. He has the Leonine Panoply, the Lion Sword or the Wolf Blade, the Fusel Actineus, Frag Grenades and Stasis Grenades. Now you did hear me previously say that Stasis Grenades didn't have a profile in the Eschaton Imperative Right of War, but they are here in the Lions or what I understand to be, correct me if I'm wrong. They are here in the Lion's rules, and are as such the same. Moving on, special rules, it's Primarch and all that fun stuff gives you. Sire of the Dark Angels, point of the blade, Lion's collar, an absolute focus, very bulky, and Deathwing Companions. So what are all those broken down? The Sire of the Dark Angels. While Lionel Johnson is on the battlefield, all friendly models with Allegiance Astartes Dark Angel special rule roll an additional d6 for all morale checks and use the 2 lowest dice to decide the result of the check. Any units with the Allegiance Astartes Dark Angel special rule within 12 of Lion add 1 to the wound value used to determine which side has won a given close combat. Yeah, it becomes difficult, a bit like Word Bearers, is it? 2 lowest dice for morale checks, and they gain +1 to the combat resolution. Okay, the point of the blade, after declaring the charge for Lionel Johnson and any unit he has joined, the controlling player may choose to just move flat 8 inches, ignoring the effects of difficult terrain or dangerous terrain. Yeah, really, really powerful, because you can do it for the unit he's with as well. So if you've got a Death Star, you're auto-charging 8 inches with no drawback. Like when I went on about Mortarion, at least he had a drawback. Yes, he could move himself freely under a leadership check, and it could move closer to an enemy unit, but he'd be disordered charge, so he wouldn't get the extra attack, and he'd have to do it on his own. Whereas the Lion, who's a newer Primarch, they just give all the good rules. I'm sorry, I'll try and stop being so salty. Next one is the Lion's Collar. It's a special rule of his. It states when reduced to 4 wounds or less, the Lion gains +1 attack, which is increased to +2 attacks when he is reduced to 2 wounds or less. Wow. Yeah. Next special rule is an absolute focus. In any assault phase, Lionel Johnson is never required to roll more than a 4-up to hit an enemy model, regardless of the enemy's weapon skill, any special rules or modifiers in play. Yeah, I really want to like it, and I do, and I'm choosing to do Dark Angels, and it's not because of this. I just think that after listening and reading some of the books, they are really, I like how they are, but I feel they've gone a bit to town on the Lion's rules and the Dark Angels rules in general. It just feels, it makes you feel bad for the older legions, but that's because I play an older legion as well. Another special rule is Deathwing Companions. A unit of Deathwing Companions may be included as part of the same Lord of War choice as Lionel Johnson. If selected, the Lionel Johnson must join this unit and may never voluntarily leave it. Yeah, that's okay. If you want to play fluffy, that's great, but I'm not really too keen on the Deathwing Companions. His war gear, going back slightly, there's the Leonine Panoply. The Leonine Panoply provides a 2-up armor save and a 4-up invuln save, and the first failed invuln save made for the Lion each turn may be re-rolled. Yep, that's pretty tasty. Okay, it's not a 3-up invuln save, but he's still getting to re-roll something. It's almost 40k. His gun is the Fusel Actinaeus. It is 18-inch range, strength 7, AP 2. But Forge World seem to have neglected something here, because it is salvo /2/4. So if he fires this, he can't charge, and if he moves, he's only getting 2 shots at half range. So, okay, yeah, I was extolling how much they seem to have pounded into his rules and crammed that in, but at least they've toned it down slightly for his gun. Just don't shoot it, let's face it. What he wants to be doing is in combat, because he's just going to own. Now, Stasis Grenades. These are broken. They're rare techno relics, count as neither assault nor defensive grenades, but have their own unique effect. During a turn in which a unit equipped with Stasis Grenades makes a successful charge, or are themselves successfully charged, the enemy unit or units is reduced to initiative 1 until the end of the game turn. I'll let that sink in for a couple of seconds, just because it doesn't specify that it can't affect Primarchs. So against another close combat Primarch and their Death Star squad of Terminators, they're all at initiative 1. Well done, Forge World. Now he has 2 weapon swords. He has 2 sword options. He has the Lion Sword or the Wolf Blade. It did say that in his war gear. The Lion Sword is melee, strength user, AP1, nice. Lance, okay. Flesh Bane, Mastercrafted and two-handed. So strength user with Lance is strength 7. So it's alright. Okay, you're Flesh Bane, so you're constantly wounding on 2s against infantry. But you could send in a Dreadnought against him and he will start to struggle. If it had been strength +1 and Lance still, it'd be more desirable, but I suppose we can't have it all. The other sword option is the Wolf Blade, and this is my personal favourite. It's +3 strength, AP2, so he's going to be strength 10, and hence my preference over the Lion Sword. Sorry, it's melee, two-handed, shred, fearsome ruin. So strength 10 with shred. It's all fun and games, as you well know. You re-roll into a wound, and +3 strength against anything with an armor value. You'll be coming in at strength 10. So, and there's no initiative. It's still at initiative 7. The last special rule was fearsome ruin. Any unit which suffers 1 or more casualties from this weapon and makes a morale check during the assault phase must roll an additional d6 for that check and keep the 2 highest dice to determine the result. And that is the Lion. For 460 points, he is a beast. I personally think he's undercosted, especially with the Stasis Grenades and the Sire of the Dark Angels been applying what were initially word-bearer rules. With the 2 lowest results on a morale check with an extra d6. Just very killy. And a big buff still. Yeah, that is him. Well done, Forge Rod. Now, if you've got this far, thank you very much for listening. I do apologise if I've waffled a bit. It's been a long video because there is a lot to talk about. And I didn't even cover all the HQ options. They have 2 extra HQs, like I stated, Holgwyn and Farith. Farith's one of my personal favourite characters, having read some of the Dark Angels novels from Black Library. I really like the Dark Angels, but they have gone to town on their rules, and it probably shows in this video. But that is the Dark Angels overview and my opinions of them. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, feel free to like it. Leave me a comment if you think I've got anything wrong or I missed anything out. I apologise if I do. I'm not an expert. Feel free to subscribe if it's your first time with us. We thank you for your support through lockdown. We can't wait to get back to doing some battle reports, and I'm furiously working away on multiple projects as well as my Death Guard still, as well as these. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.